like working in the shop gives you a lot of, different experiences. And it's like men will come in, and being that I was the only male in the shop at the time, they wouldn't want to talk to the females.
Yeah.
And I had to tell the females, and I said, listen, you have to talk to them just like how men talk, just like how men speak. You can't be all trying, and even if they will beat around the bush,
Mhm.
to get to the point, like what they really come for. Um, but sometimes you just have to draw it out to them, just be blunt with it. Just say,
Well,
listen,
this is hard as well because it's diving deeper into their personal,
yes,
concerns, and men are harder to approach with that. So,
that's for sure. Because we were taught to lock everything in,
yep.
at a very young age. And as we lock everything in, we start building up these walls. And, after a certain period of time, you start seeing it within the character of the person,
True.
to the point, to
Very
the
true.
point where, to the point where, you know, like even up to yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was saying she doesn't know what's wrong with a 21-year-old. Well, he was fine all the time, and now all of a sudden, he's just want to play video games, sit all
Yep.
day, do nothing. So she's, explaining to me that how he's stuck. And I understand that clearly because a lot of people today are stuck, right?
Yep.
They just don't know what to do. And with all the information that's out here on the internet, right? Information is so accessible, but yet we still stuck. So, you have to ask yourself why, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's not that some of the information is not good, but then there's a lot of bogus information also, right? And that's done for a reason. As we train, we know we see it, and it's done for a reason because the shift already it's been happening, and it's getting even more popular now that being the case that the medications and stuff is not really working, and people are just turning away from it. Once you see the money starts to shift, then all kinds of stuff start happening. So there's a lot of misdirection out there. And, as I say, people just stuck. They don't know where to turn. They don't know what to do, you know, and all of that comes
What do you
from
mean?
with. Hmm?
I just wanted to ask you, what do you mean by when the money starts to shift?
All right. So when you're talking about medicines, right?
Mm,
You could,
mm,
medicine costs a lot, right? But if people are
mm-hmm.
continuously paying for medication and not getting the relief that they need, right? What they're looking for. Because if you're taking something for a condition, right, after a certain period of time, that condition should be gone,
Right,
right? If you continuously have to take a pill day in, day out, then it's not doing nothing to help you, right? And
right,
the way how the body is designed, the body is designed to actually generate energy. I don't like to use
right,
regenerate, but all right, so let's say regenerate or repair, right? So
right,
once we give the body what it needs, the body's going to do the rest.
right,
As simple as that. But now, when you compare the cost of medication and where the money, where the profits go to, and you compare it to plants that nobody has control over, right? You cannot
hmm,
put a patent on plants, so
right.
nobody owns it,
Well,
right? So it
They
could grow,
trying.
right? So as it grows any and everywhere, now
Mm-hmm.
you use this and you get the benefits, and you will see it, you will feel it in your body, you will see it, and then people start
Yeah,
asking you, hey, what you do? And that starts to spread. Now people start paying more attention to plants,
right.
right? And then that whole industry it starts to decline in profits. So you're affecting stock markets. You're affecting everything.
Yes. Yes.
So it's interesting, but I really, if we people, if everyone really cared about what we are and really look at it for all of us being just that one thing that we all looking for, we could get past a lot of stuff. We could get past a whole lot of stuff, especially when it comes to the wellness of people, but the way how the system is designed, I mean, we know how it's designed. So not with us in mind, put it like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But that's what I was talking about when I say about the
Okay.
money.
I see. I see.
So let me see. Um, all right, today we going into the men's stuff. I don't know where everybody else. Everybody said they was joining today. Maybe they a little late, but we at 12:45, so we're gonna start. Um, Male reproductive system, energizing the male reproductive system. One of the first things I would definitely say is for a man to be having issues with the reproductive system, that's like a how to put it, last resort, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for that to happen, there's a whole bunch of other things ahead, right? That already happened that triggers that,
Right.
right? So even when it comes to ED, erectile dysfunction, right? They will prescribe pills for you. They will tell you take all kinds of stuff, but it doesn't just happen overnight,
Right.
right? So it's something that you have to. It it starts somewhere, and one of the main things is what you put in your body, right? What you put in your body is what you're gonna get out. So when it comes to the eating habits that we have, you know, you look at the foods that's on the market. We talk about foods all the time, processed food, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
life in it. There's no nutrients in there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and we try to make it something that is not, right? And the only reason why we don't drop down from it yet is because of the seasonings that we use, which are just herbs, right? We put a lot of herbs in foods to season them up and stuff like that, and that's what really keeping us where we are, right? But when it comes to the male reproductive system, we start off with the testes, right? The testes, the scrotum. The scrotum is something, how to put it, boy? It has a mind of its own. Factor saying that is, all right, anytime the body has to maintain a certain temperature, we know that, 98 point something. Now, when it comes to the testes, the scrotum itself, that has to maintain a certain temperature also, right? So, hold on a second, please.
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes to the scrotum now, right, you have the testes in there, and within the testes is where the sperm is produced, the stem cells and all of that is. Now, the reason why it contracts and it relaxes, right, is because of heat. It's because of temperature, right? So at any given point in time, if the temperature is too hot within the body, then the scrotum will relax and it hangs, right? If it's too cold, like you go in a pool or something like that, or you go outside in the winter, it should contract, right? Because it's protecting the seeds. Now, what we see today, especially in the underwear that the brothers be wearing now, these tight briefs or whatever they call them, Now you
Mm-hmm.
keeping that the scrotum pressed against the skin, against the body, and then
Right.
there's a next layer of clothes on that, right? And as you what we're not paying attention to is that it needs to breathe, right? So all these different spandex materials, which we talk about, right, when it comes to the women also, where these spandex materials, all of it is made of synthetic material, oil,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oil
Mm-hmm.
and water does not mix. So when you have these synthetic materials rubbing on your skin, if you know about microfibers and how they react, right, as they rub on your skin, they inject under the skin, right? So now you have these microfibers injecting under the skin from the synthetic material. And you see it in women a lot when it comes to the cellulite, right? That's why cellulite stays at the top, right? Because remember, if you put oil in water, oil is going to float, right? So now you have, like, they have the cellulite. Someone might have cellulite on them. And just pay attention. As I say, observation is everything. So when you start looking at things like this, it's not just only what we're eating, because if that cellulite was just fat, it would have been easy to get rid of,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's not that easy because it is a oil-based type of chemical that we're dealing with, right? And who has to get rid of it is the lymph. So it's the same thing with the male when he's wearing these boxers and all these tight briefs made out of these different materials. And then, it's something I'm noticing now. A lot of males have their testicles hanging, it doesn't even contract anymore, right?
Mm.
To the point where, they come in and asking for help. They're making jokes about it, right? So now we have to keep all of that in mind when we're dealing with the reproductive system, because now
Mm.
it's staying cool for a reason. Now the next thing, other than the things that we wear, now when it comes to the prostate, we know how the prostate functions. If it starts to get enlarged, that means it's inflamed. Once it's inflamed, when we talk about inflammation, what element is inflammation? Anybody?
You said what element is inflammation?
Yeah.
Fire.
Fire?
Mucus?
Exactly. So when
Mm.
you talk
Because
about
that's not an
inflammation,
element.
you're talking about fire, you're talking about heat, right?
Yeah.
So now, if the prostate is enlarged, that's heat being generated in that pelvic area down there. And
Mm-hmm.
heat radiates. And that's why you tend to get a lot of lower back pain. You tend to get the testes start to get inflamed also. They start to hurt, right? And there's a lot of things going on because, it's not like inside the body there's all this space for stuff to move around and don't touch anything. Everything is in its place, right? And if it's not
Right.
in it's encased in some type of fluid. So now, if the prostate is enlarged, right, or inflamed, it affects a lot of stuff because the spermatic cord flows through the prostate. The ejaculatory duct comes from the prostate, right? The urethra flows through the prostate. So if it's
Mm-hmm.
inflamed, and it depends on what's going on, what's causing the inflammation, whether it's infection, whether it's some type of bacteria, who knows, it could be trauma. Now you have to, because now that inflammation could spread within the body, right? Especially if it's like a bacteria, right? It could spread to the urethra, it could spread to the testes, and all these type of
Mm.
stuff. So you have to pay attention to all of that. Semen retention, good or bad? Um, well, I mean, it depends. Put it like this, right? This is the way I look at it. Now, if you not taking anything for to to how to put it, boy. Let me see if okay. I want to make this one kind of as clear as I could. Semen retention.
Okay.
You could. It's good for some, and then it may not be good for others, right? And
Okay.
what I mean by that is you can. There's a lot of stuff to do, right? So it's like no, it is. Now, if you have an issue with semen and releasing it all the time, right? What will happen is your body will break down much faster because your cells cannot reproduce as fast. And if
Mm.
that's the case and that's all you focus on, then you running in that root chakra area there, and what is happening is there's a serious blockage in there,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now all your energy is in the root. And for all your energy to be in the root, there's no flow, right? The flow
Right.
energy has to flow through the entire body,
Right.
right? And that's where when it comes to raising young men, right? You have to do that what they call it, some people call it transmutation. So you know the energy is there, but now
Right.
you know how to apply the energy to other things other than just sex,
Right.
right? And once you could do that, then you won't have a problem with the semen retention and all that stuff, right? We know anything that come out exits the body is waste. So if the sperm comes out, right, it's waste, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
only time sperm is not waste is when it's in the vagina,
Right.
right? Because it never left the
Right.
body, right? That's our whole sexual intercourse, that whole um, creation, if you want to call it, or transformation that's happening. That's what that's there for, But other than that, and it does a few other things too. It affects the eyes, it affects the glands in the entire body, not only the prostate. And I would say with that whole semen retention is just about eventually yes, right? Because what will happen is it's like any other muscle. We're dealing with muscles, we're dealing with tissue, right? The more you use it, you're gonna exhaust it. And as you exhaust it, if you're not putting in the right things to have it
Right.
to energize it, then what is gonna happen? It's gonna break down. And by the
Mm.
time you reach 21, 25, you having sex issues, right? I've seen it. I got 20, 25, 26 years old. They're coming in the shop asking for stuff because they can't
Wow.
perform, right? And that's something you see with 45, 50, and so on,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, they're coming in young. They're coming in really young. And the things that they have on the market, is just, all right, you take it and what you feel, then you perform and then you're happy and you're good to go until the next time you take something else. But the whole thing about it is about being ready at any given point in time. It's not about, and I tell them this all the time, it's not about taking these pills to perform. Because I always ask, I say, so, all right, so if you somewhere that you didn't expect and you don't have your pills with you, then what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You gonna say, well, nah, yo, we can't do this here. Nobody wanna hear that. So you have to always be ready, and that's why I say you gotta feed the body right, right? You gotta feed the body right, but it's it comes right back to the mental part of it, and I can't wait to start that part,
Wait,
right?
can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So, so about keeping the energy flowing, right? So if, I mean, there's different ways. Let me get this a second, hold on. There's different ways of, I guess, releasing, like for men, releasing that semen and that tension. So they could either do two things. They can have sexual intercourse, right? And they can ejaculate, or they can pretty much stimulate themselves, right? So if both of those can actually work by you pleasuring yourself and then also having pleasure from, of course, a woman and her vagina. Now, what would you say about, I mean, because we're talking about semen retention. So what would you say about if he's trying to release and, he wants to do that and kind of, release it by pleasuring himself? In the long run, will it affect the male? And will it affect his prostate by him kind of, just kind of releasing himself by sexual pleasure?
Yes, it will. Eventually, it will. Well, as I say, you drain himself. That's what he's doing. He's draining himself. And especially if you're not putting in the right things, what happens is, then you start seeing the sperm count start going down, right? The sperm itself will start looking more like water than the milky type substance that it should be looking like, right?
Mm.
But it all comes back to what you're putting in. And this is what I'm saying. If you get in so many urges to satisfy yourself, right, then you're focusing, your energy is being blocked, and you're focusing just on that sex all the time. Because as I say, there's so much to do. There's a lot out here to do, so for you to be just in that sexual mood all the time, as I said, look at nature. You don't see animals just run around here just wanting to sex all the time. This is something that we've learned. This is
Oh,
something
yeah?
that
I mean, well, obviously there's certain seasons, mating
yes,
seasons.
they have a
that
time for everything.
Right. But for us, you feel that we have a time for that too? I mean, I know for women, it's a little, I don't know, I'm not sure about men, but I know for women, whenever we're ovulating, that's our peak, that's our peak time, of course, because that's the time where the ovary, I mean, the ovum could actually get, stimulated
Fertilized.
and
Yeah.
fertilized and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be considered our peak time. What about for men? When is the peak time for men?
Well, a man's peak time is whenever he's ready. He has a peak time, right? Because he's producing sperm constantly. Now the thing is, it's about, remember, I don't want to go off topic here with this one, but I'll just touch on it. What are we talking about is energy. Now, the way that we were taught, right, that we have to have the girls, right, and we constantly run down girls from a young age. Not all of us, but most of us, right? If we weren't taught that, we wouldn't be acting that way, right? Because what I'm saying is we've been drawn so far away from nature that we just function in society, and that's it.
Yep.
That's all we do is function as society. And society is a whole different ball game. That's why we are in the way we are right now with everything that's going on. So it goes way deeper than a man being, ready, because as soon as, with every death, there's a birth, right? No, we didn't go through this, but when it comes to babies, when it comes to that energy, right? Children choose their parents. It might sound a little crazy now, but when we really go into it, children choose the parents, right? They don't just come out of nowhere. It's not like, oh, well, you know, I want to have this child, or whatever the case is. Children choose their parents, right? And when that happens, it's like, if you're not there on that level, then you will not understand why children are in your life, right? What they come, because when they come, it's for two reasons: to help you get to where you need to go, and you need to help them get to where they need to go, right? I've seen children change people's lives like crazy, and they're not even picking it up. You know, I see mothers who have children that sick, you know, parents, fathers too, children are sick, and or have certain conditions. And what happens now is they have to adjust their life to accommodate that child because they love that child so much. And with that accommodation and that change, right, it puts them in a whole new realm that they could write books. They could write, they could actually open up some new type of place to actually help other children with the same conditions. But we don't look at that because we're so focused on society and having having the job and all the other things of society, right? So it could go a little way down the road, you know. But that whole, as I say, the semen retention thing is up to you if you want to do it or not. It's a good practice, of course, if you have issues with something like that. But if not, then you're good to go.
I have a question specifically about that. If you recently have been kind of abstinent or whatever, and after years of sexual pleasure, be it, you're trying to make a change, and what should you expect? Or I guess everybody's case is different, but I'll just speak from my own experience. Like, how long should you expect before you have, say, a nocturnal emission or something like that?
Well, no, that comes back to what you put in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because even if you abstain and you're not feeding your body correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the prostate is not nourished, right? If you're not nourishing basically the whole body, because
Right.
the prostate, for the testes and everything to function, you need the pituitary and the pineal gland to be functioning also. You need all the hormones to be firing properly. So even though a man stays away, abstains, right? But he's not feeding his adrenals per se, and the job is stressing the hell out of him, right? He's gonna have problems when he starts back.
Mm.
It's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna be like this, this grand entrance type thing. No, it won't, because the body is still being broken down while he's abstaining.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
what are some of the foods you should eat in that process in that kind of process?
Well, the first thing, you gotta do a lot of greens, right? Because what you want to do is clean up the veins and arteries, right? Any type of plaque or any type of debris that might be in there, right? It depends on how what they call it, how severe it is, of course, right? If somebody has high blood pressure or something like that, now you gotta look, you gotta do like a consultation. You gotta find out what's causing the pressure to go up. Is it the kidneys, having problems with the kidneys? Is it the diet that they're eating, right? That's clogging the veins and the arteries. Is it the glands, right? So it could be either one of these. And once you find out that, then you start targeting it, right? And you target the specific ones the most, and then you work your way to the others, because you treat the body as a whole, right? We don't take out this part and just work with this part. No, the whole body has a part in everything, because the blood runs through everything, right? And what enters the blood, the liver has to process it. If the liver doesn't process it, then the blood is not going to get the nutrients that it needs, right? And then for the glands to fire and function, right? Now the nervous system has to be sparking, it has to be firing, because the prostate itself is a lot of nerve endings in there. Right?
Oh yeah.
That's why even when it's inflamed although you use saw palmetto berries, you could definitely use what they call you have to use some type of nervine to strengthen those nerve endings in the prostate. Matter of fact, anywhere in the body, because every needle head of your body, every pinhead of your body has nerve endings connected to it. So when the prostate is inflamed or when the testes is inflamed, right, you're gonna damage nerve endings, right? And those nerve endings has to be repaired.
Mm.
So you have to look at the whole picture,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
It comes right back to what we put in the body. And we cannot do that. That's why we don't do that allopathic herbalism. All right, so you
Say
hear
that.
this,
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
but that's why we don't do allopathic herbalism.
Allopathic.
Yes, right. Where this is because this is where you come to, right? There's a lot, as I said, we were talking earlier about the misdirection online, and there's a lot of people who, all right, let's say feverfew is good for headaches or good for pain, right? So people would know that and say, all right, just take some feverfew or take some white willow or some white pony for the pain, without even consulting to find out where the pain is originating from.
Right.
Mhm.
Because if the headache that I'm having is related to constipation,
Right.
then feverfew is not going to help me to the point
Right.
of eliminating that. It's going to give me some relief,
Right.
but it's not going to eliminate the problem. That's why we have to. That's why we ask so many questions, and that's why you fill out the intake form, and then it's more questions because we want to get to the root of it. And once we get to that root cause, then we start eliminating issues.
Right. It's very interesting because like a lot of I mean, a lot of people just think that that's what they're doing, like they're just targeting one thing, If someone, like you said, if someone has a headache, it could be so many other reasons why they're having a headache, and of course people don't really understand what is a headache, and they just think that, okay, well, a pain medication is going to take care of, you know of the symptoms that you're having. So not realizing that it's inflammation. So you may have turmeric in your cabinet, you could make a tea out of that, So there's so many, like, these conversations should be had, on a different level, so many places, so that people can just understand the basics of their body, just the anatomy, physiology, biology. And once they know that, it seems like everything else would be easy, But just the same way with doctors, they what do? They think people think the same way as doctors, and
Yeah.
there's no in between, as far as not focusing on the symptom but just the root cause of it.
Mhm. And that's it. That's why they advertise as managing your diabetes, managing your sugar, managing pain management and all of that shit. We don't manage shit. I don't know if anybody ever manage anything, but if you try to manage in a corporation, you know how hard that is to manage people,
Yeah.
right? So why would I want to manage my sugar, manage pain, right? I look into eliminate that shit, So, and then we go into wordplay, of course,
It's a good point.
right? But it's just some things that we need. As I say, observation is key, and as we move forward, it's always about the questions, um, because just because a man comes in and he says he's having erection issues, we just don't go straight for the Yohimbi, right? Because a lot of people, I've seen a lot of men use Yohimbi, right? And what happens is they don't understand Yohimbi is a heart tonic, right? So what a heart tonic does, it strengthens the heart. And to strengthen the heart, you have to exercise it. So as they drink the Yohimbi now, the heart starts to exercise, so it beats faster, right? Without them even moving around. And what happens as your heart beats faster, the pressure is going to go up, of course, right? So now they come back and saying that, it nearly killed them. It sent the pressure up. That's because Yohimbi was not for you, right? You need something like, you need something like, what they call it? You need some red clover or something like that to actually start cleaning out the arteries, right? So the flow could actually flow with no problem. And then you graduate to Yohimbi, right? So, as I say, you have to really talk to people and find out what's going on with them so you could address the real issues. And some things take longer than others.
Right.
There's especially when it comes to, I think stress is one of the main ones now. Food of course is a big one, but the stress, the adrenal glands, even doctors will tell you that the adrenal glands should be nourished every 5 hours, right? How many people nourish their adrenal glands? How many people even know the adrenal glands exist, right? So now when they burn out and your whole endocrine system is compromised, and you wondering, why you can't perform, stresses, you have to look at what's stressing them.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Right?
how do you stimulate and feed the adrenal glands every 5 hours? Or is it something that you're ingesting? Is it moving, being physically active?
It's a combination, right? You definitely have to keep physical. Next thing you have to do is eliminate the stress. Whatever is stressing you out, and that's why, when you sit and consult with that person, you have to get in the business, right? And you should be able to let them know, well, like what isn't really important to you, because this stress will actually kill you.
Right.
So if it's a job, listen, you got to make plans and see how you could start looking to make moves to get out of the job and find something else to do, even if it's the next job, you
Maybe
know.
it's somebody's psychologist too, and
Hmm?
so it's not just herbalism or being an herbalist. It's you're someone's psychologist.
That's just the video I posted during the week, right? Every profession that's out there is what we do,
All right.
because we deal with the eyes, we deal with the nose, we deal with the respiratory, we
All
deal with
right.
the endocrine, we deal with everything. And there's only two things: there's the mind and there's the body, right? And for us to get results as fast as possible, we have to bridge the mind and the body, because right now it's far apart. It's way far apart, right? So the closer we get it, and if we get it to be that one thing that we are, then we won't have no problems with all these different conditions out here. We just won't.
Okay, so that'll be the first step pretty much is because sometimes, and I say for an example, I speak for myself too, but sometimes with people, you may give them an advice to, let's say, get out that job, or if it's stressing them, change something up. But sometimes it could feel as if they're going into a circle, right? So there's so many things that you can tackle. You can tackle your food, which you're ingesting. You can tackle adjusting some hormones, because hormones, of course, assist with your thinking and your thought
Mhm.
process and how you feel.
Yeah.
So, and what you feel is what leads you to producing action, and doing something. So sometimes if you may give an advice and say to someone, okay, well, do this and this, but they may say, okay, I'll do it. And then the next day, they're feeling a certain way and they're feeling down again. They're feeling stressed, but just yesterday they were happy. So there's, I know for me, that's what it was. It was, about a year ago, that's what it was, going into circles. And when you assisted me with the hormones and telling me to take certain things, that helped tremendously, you know. But I realized too, when I slacked off on taking them, that's when certain moods came back up, you know. So,
Mhm.
what's the first step? Herbs, food. I know that would be considered fuel, but um, you know, it seems like maybe that would be the first step because that will help you to feel good, you know, to get you excited to do these actions. So, am I correct?
Mhm.
Am I getting to the
Yes, you're right. Because that's what you see. People not everyone is ready for the mental part of it, and to
right?
get ready for the mental part of it, the physical part has to be in check,
Right.
right? That's why when it comes to we talk about um, autistic children and stuff like that and how they behave, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we know is once you clean up the diet, you take away all these sugars and all these different things that they feed these children, the mental starts to clear up. So it's the
Right.
same thing with
Yep.
all of as we change the diet, you change the eating habits, right? We would definitely feel better, right? We would definitely start looking better. And then hopefully by then the mental starts to kick in and be like, hey, we could do this, but it's not gonna happen overnight,
Mm-mm.
you know. It's something that if it's up to you if you want to take on that challenge, you know. I don't know how that will work, but it's something you could offer also.
I think also support, you know, like you can't, somebody really can't be in their own heads 24/7, you know, because that'll drive you just nuts trying to figure out, you know, how you're trying to get through your issues and everything else. And it's like, so the support is definitely needed. I think that's the second thing after trying to um, adjust your diet and what you're putting in your body, you know,
Hmm.
because once you get that, you get like an accountability partner, you know, and hold on, baby, you get an accountability partner and you get someone who's able to tell you, you know, okay, well, stop doing this, stop doing that, or even just reminding you, have you done this, have you done that, you know. So so once, but you know what, let me stop here. Maybe you can talk about that another time. I don't want to drift off of your subject.
Okay, okay, all right. Let me see what else we could cover. You see issues with what they call it, testosterone. A lot of people are talking about free testosterone. All right, this is what I'm gonna say. When it comes to the body, if the body needs something, it will produce it, right? Especially if we give
Right.
it what it needs to produce it. So when it comes to free testosterone, it's not like testosterone just supposed to be floating around your body for free, right? Every time, if your body is low on it, right, it's gonna be excreted from the glands, of course, into the body. So there's nothing like this free testosterone just floating around doing nothing, right? If the testosterone is too low, you definitely see how to put it. Um, the sex drive drops, of course, and
Mm.
not when we talk about sex drive. This is the key part of it. When we talk about sex drive, men or women, it's one energy that flow in through the entire body, and that's why when the sex drive is low, you will see men just don't want to do anything. You can't have a sex drive and a low sex drive and run for office. You will not
Oh,
win.
so wait, so you're saying that when they, if you have a low sex drive, you feel like you don't want to do anything, meaning it doesn't have to pertain to sex, it has to pertain to just in general.
Yes, in general.
Okay, activities.
Just
Okay.
about getting up and going to work and being goal driven,
All right.
right? You have a low sex drive, right? It's affected. And some of us don't even know that, right? Because and you see it a lot, right? You will see the women come in and they ask for stuff for the men, you know, and when you talk to them, it's like, yeah, he just don't really do nothing. He just, you know, not as before. He just don't want to just, you know, but it's not always about testosterone, as I say. You have to ask questions because that stress part, when other things going on in people's lives that you may not know about, and men, as men, we don't share shit, right? We were taught not to share shit, right?
Yeah.
So when we hold on to it, right, it's not that, you know, we don't want to do anything, but we have shit going on that just people don't
Right.
know about, and people, we not going to tell nobody. I don't care who he is, right? The next man in the room, I'm sure he could say the same thing,
So true.
right? So is when it comes, it could be a lot of things, and that's when you all come in, where you could sit down and consult with somebody, get to the root cause of it, and help them out like that. Within a few days, within a week, they're back on track, and now it's just for them to maintain, right? Um, when it comes to that, the semen, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
people call it pre-cum, pre-ejaculation, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
we know that if that's not producing, you have a problem, right? Because that is an alkaline-based liquid fluid, right? That
Uh-huh.
enters the vagina to neutralize the acidity of the vagina, so the actual sperm could enter and start going looking for the eggs, right? So
Mm.
now, when it comes to infertility and stuff like that, it's not always the woman, as we know, right? So now we have to check the man to see if he's
Mm-hmm.
producing that alkaline based um, fluid, so the sperm could actually reach, right? And
What
even
if
before that,
I don't mean to interrupt you,
mhm,
but what if you produce some kind of fluid that like that, but you're not like you're not having sex, or say you're just urinating and you see at the end of your urination stream some
that's fine.
clear like
That's fine,
pre
right? Because
okay.
what happens too, right? There's the semen. It comes in two forms, and it comes from two places.
Mm-hmm.
One is to neutralize the um, the acidity of the vagina, and the next one is to neutralize the acidity of urine in the urethra,
Mm.
right? So
Okay. Okay.
when you urinate, right, that will produce also to neutralize that acidity, so you don't get no. You could get infections. It all depends. You don't know. The kidney
Mm-hmm.
could be
Mm-hmm.
in something, some type of acid that could actually scar the urethra, and if that happens,
Mm.
then you will start feeling burning when you urinate,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you don't want that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
all these fluids have to produce. And
Oh, okay.
if you're seeing that, that's fine. It's not a problem at all, right?
Now, what
All right.
color should that be? Should that be clear? Should it be a milky white? You know,
It's normally it's clear.
normally it's clear.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
now if you start seeing different colors now, then obviously you gotta, you know, because sometimes if the urethra is scarred, you could actually, it could come out like a pinkish color,
Mm-hmm.
or likely it's blood, right? Blending with it. You know, there's a lot you could be seeing.
Can I ask a question? So, off of his topic, what he was saying. So, with women, of course, during our cycle, we have different vaginal secretions. You know, sometimes, you know, when we're ovulating, it could be a thicker discharge. You know, so I know our bodies are going through something different than men. But
Hmm.
do men have certain times where their discharge or you know that fluid maybe changes? I know their diet it can change, but is there just a natural way of telling if something is going on? Like with us, we know when we see that we're ovulating, you know, or if it changes, it has a scent, of course, we know that something is going on in our bodies. So is there like a certain point of time, maybe an age, it could be too, you know, when a boy's young, teenage years, adulthood, that the semen really changes according to, I guess, the hormones.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. And even with women, I mean, you might get a heavier discharge or whatever the case is, but then again, now you got to look at what you put in the body
Right,
and
right.
what is in that discharge, because you know you're looking for acid based discharge, right? Because the vagina is always protecting itself,
Right, right.
right? And there's only certain things that should enter that should neutralize that, which is from the male. Now, when you using different types of pads, um,
Mm-hmm.
different types of underwear with the different materials and stuff like that, they're rubbing on your vagina all the time. Shoot, they, what it is, boy? Toilet paper,
Right.
right? Women wipe
Yeah.
with toilet paper, and that toilet paper causes yeast infections actually.
Right.
Mm.
What about is vaginal discharge natural? Like, should we even be having discharge, or is that minerals leaking?
Well, it depends on the discharge,
Mm-hmm.
right? Remember, anything that exits the body is waste. So if
Okay.
there's a yeast problem, you're gonna have a discharge, and it's more like a foamy whitish discharge,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then there's the discharge where you could experience with the endometriosis type stuff, right? It might be that heavy, and due to the fact that it's not that heavy, once it mixes with the other fluids, it could come out a different color,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now, when it comes to the sexual part of it, now the discharge should be a normal discharge, right?
What's
And now,
considered normal? Clear?
hmm?
What's
Yeah,
considered normal? Clear?
clear. Hmm.
But of course, depending on what they're
Yeah,
eating.
yeah. It comes right back to what we put in the body.
So let me ask you a question. So although someone could be eating raw, they could be eating healthy foods, you know, fruits, vegetables, nuts,
Hmm.
seeds, all that, right? Drinking water. Can any of those natural foods change your balance as well and change the color and texture, consistency?
Yeah. Hmm. But now the thing is, we talk about raw and we talk about fruits and vegetables, but now you got to go into how they handle,
Mm.
right? How they handle it. Now, if they
Or how
handle
they're
us,
grown too, right?
yeah, yeah, because as I said, if you really want to know what organic is, um, go to the FDA and read up what organic it means. It only
Right.
means that they use 6,000 less chemicals on the food, right? Out of the 3,000 something, right? So when you hear organic, if you really want organic, you have to go where people using they're growing actually in the ground, right? So they don't have to add no fertilizer, and they're using like bugs to take care of other bugs and stuff like that. That's organic to me,
True.
right? But stuff like that, you gotta look at. Um,
So we're always gonna have. It seems like we're never going to, in a society that we live in today. It's like nothing seems like it's going to be normal. You know, like we're always going to have something that's off because we just don't. We don't live in the countryside. Even if we lived in the countryside, it depends on how we're growing our foods. I'm guessing that's the only natural way that you can actually get fuel into your system is
mhm,
if you're living in the country and if you're living outside of the city life and you're doing what you're doing. I mean, doing what you just said as far as using nature to kind of take care of the soil.
mhm,
But even if we're here in the city and the suburbs in the US, I mean, we're all trying, but it seems like there's always going to be something. So what would be your advice on trying to kind of maintain our alkaline and acidic body, but just making sure that we're not we're doing the best that we can to not get these issues.
Just know what you are. And when you choose to fuel your body, make sure it represents what you are, right? It has to have seeds because we have seeds, right? Seed is where all life comes from, right? So anything you eat in should be from a seed. It should be a seed, right? Or it should possess seed. I don't care about anything else. All that organic and inorganic stuff. Listen, just give me the seeds. That's it, right? And then I would do the rest. If I had to peel it, if I got to clean it, I'll do that. And for me, I don't really eat out like that. So, I would say that is one way for you to really, really just be like, yo, I ain't got time for that.
And we adapt, right? As humans, we adapt. So I guess the point is to be in a space where we can give our bodies time to adapt.
Well, your body's...
We do adapt.
Yes, your body's constantly adapting, right?
Mm-hmm.
For you to get up and walk right now, your body has to adapt. Right? Your pressure goes up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For you to speak, your body adapting because just imagine, keep it in your head that your body has to maintain a certain temperature, right? As much as I speak right now, I'm losing a lot of water. I'm getting dehydrated if I don't drink something,
Mm-hmm.
right? So every second, your body's adapting, right? So not only when it comes to foods, but now you're talking environment,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you could keep the environment clear, and when I mean the environment, just not your surroundings, but what enters the ether, right? What enters the space in the ears, the mouth, the nose, and that little black dot in your eye, clear,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to make it. I'm telling you, you're going to start looking younger and younger and
Mm-hmm.
younger. You're going to start
Mm-hmm.
feeling stronger and stronger and stronger because now the distractions that are out in society, you have no time for it. There's nothing distracting you.
That sounds so good.
Listen, the
It
only
does.
time...
It's hard, sometimes, but that sounds so, it's such a happy life.
It could be hard, and that's because we're thinking about it.
Think too damn much.
Yeah. We were taught to think, and all we could think about is what we've been taught.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Benny, I know I shared with you my experience this past week. And I told you that, in order for everything to happen, I had to shut my mouth and stop eating. And I broke my fast today. And I feel stronger. I feel lighter. I had a couple of days where I wanted to just go to the hospital, literally. And I just said, no, I'm going to hang in there and stand in there and do what I need to do. And I feel so much better, so much calmer. And now I can think again, because on Monday I said I wasn't going to think, because if I had to think about it, I wouldn't do it.
Yep.
That sounds wonderful.
And you see, that's the thing. That's what you're going to experience as your body adapts. You're going to have some hard times because you've been doing this for so many years, as they say, right? You will start experiencing being uncomfortable. And that's why...
Yeah.
That's why this thing, you have to
laugh at that.
Right? You have to make uncomfortable the new comfortable.
Yes.
Once you do that, you will never be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Very, very true. I practiced that this morning.
That's it. That's my life. I don't mind being uncomfortable. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. You could throw me anywhere. If it's uncomfortable, I'll make it it's comfortable. you know, because all I do is live in the now. That's the only time we could actually live is now, right? I can't live in the past, which a lot of people is doing, right? Because that's all they're doing. If you're thinking all the time, all you could think about is the past.
Yeah.
So you're steady living in the past. Why?
Or the future.
Hmm?
Thinking that or the future, thinking of things that haven't even occurred, creating stories and
But,
Right.
scenarios that don't exist or probably will never exist.
but that's the thing. You can't live in the future either, right?
Right.
The only time you have is now. So, I mean, visualizing is a good thing. You know, that's
But visualize the
completely
right
different
things,
from
right?
thinking, right? I didn't hear you.
No, I said like, but visualizing the right things,
Yes, yes, for sure.
what serves you well.
You know, well, what serves everybody well? Because remember, we all one.
To me, anything that makes you happy, anything that doesn't throw you off, you know. I mean, that's different for everyone. So something that, you know, makes you feel good, you know, that serves you well, you as an individual.
Okay, right. If someone comes to you and they tell you they have a broken penis, what would your advice be?
What would I advise them to do?
Yeah, how would you work with them?
Well, it depends. If they just broke it, you know, go to the hospital. It depends, right? If they feel like something is broken, you know, they're not in pain at the moment,
Oh,
but
they
they
would
have
Put
be.
it in the
discomfort.
class.
They would,
So they do have pain.
they would be in pain.
Okay, well, I would I would put an herb together.
Major.
I will have them soak their penis
Oh
in it. I
man.
will have them drink something.
Mhm.
Yo.
I would, yeah, give them something for pain. Give them something that's gonna to help to stop the internal bleeding or whatever's going on, the inflammation. You know, I mean, this is if you. I don't know if you'd be. You know, you kind of throw me off a little bit. So I don't know if you're thinking mentally, you know, or
No, I'm talking about physically. A man comes in the shop and he
right.
said his penis is broken.
I have a question though. Isn't that severe pain? How could he get that far?
That's true. That's why I said go to the hospital.
Well, it has some women who
Right.
just like to they just get wild. Some men make
Yeah.
women wild.
No. I don't mean how. I mean,
Okay.
he can't come to me. Once that happens, I don't think he could move. I don't think that
Yeah,
that would
he
be
can move. He can move.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
It's
that's
the
when you
third
can
leg.
tackle
The
by
pain
herbs
will.
and all these different
okay.
remedies. You know,
Mhm.
Okay, so it
if he
doesn't
can
feel to me
actually
like how
walk,
we do because it's like an attachment, so to speak.
He will be in tremendous pain, but the pain is what will drive him to move.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Thanks for the clarity.
okay.
Hmm.
Well, how about this? Okay, so we have many answers. So can you tell us what what would be the right thing to do? Because we can have him soak certain, you know, soak his penis in certain herbs. We can have him take certain
That'll be a good
things. You know,
one.
you can
Hmm.
salve. You
Hmm.
can put a salve. You know, you can give him create a specialty that's actually going to help in the long run with healing and infusing things back together to make it stronger again. You know. Um,
Ice.
Definitely, because once it's broken, it's gonna get inflamed. It's gonna swell up real big. That'll be the biggest his
right.
penis ever was, right? Because now we're not dealing with bones. We dealing with tissue, right? We're dealing with vessels that have to be repaired because it's a circulatory process. If that circulatory
Right.
process cuts off, that penis could go black and it could fall right off.
Right.
You know, why you laughing, man? Were you laughing at
No,
the
because
man?
his reaction. No. I'm laughing at his
No,
reaction.
that sounds painful.
Yes, it could be. It could be. And that's why you see there's a lot of things you're gonna run into. And you know, it's just hey, you got to be able to deal with it. You know, main thing is you know is not you're not dealing with bones, you're dealing with muscle, you're dealing with tissue. The inflammation is good because, you know, the body is actually trying to heal itself, right? So it's going to send a lot of blood, right? When you put the ice, right? Anytime you put ice, if you're feeling cold, the blood is going to rush to the surface. So now you're increasing circulation with the ice, right? You could do hot or cold if you choose to, but in that situation, I think cold might be the best, because it's going to be really inflamed, right? And then, as I say, if you want to make something for him to soak it in, if you're making a salve, it has to be a cooling salve too. You know, nothing too fiery, and then definitely something to drink. You know, and if he, you know, it's up to him. You know, more than likely, he'll go to the hospital first, and they will see what they could do for him. But then, I'm sure if they don't do anything much, they will be showing up by you. It's a good thing, right? Any more questions on the male reproductive? What about the herbs? You give me some herbs that will strengthen the prostate. Strengthen the prostate, strengthen the testes, strengthen the spermatic cords, the epididymis, right? Now the testes is about this big, right? About 1 inch by 1.5 inches. Now, within there, there's a cord that's wrapped up like about 30 something feet long.
Wow.
Right. So now, if you're having problems producing sperm also and producing testosterone, you gotta check those cords and make sure that they're clear and they're not blocked. Right? Because for 40 feet or 30 feet to be in something like a walnut size or almond size, that has to be very thin, right? Like needle tight. So all of that you gotta look for. Red clover, yes. What they call it? Saw palmetto, yes. Give me something else. Talk about ashwagandha. I love 40 root. 40 root is something you could drink on your own as a put it, like a
what's that called?
40 root, FOTI. Right? It's a general bodybuilding root, right? And it just energizes the whole body. Black walnut for sure, right? Because a lot of people, men might experience parasites down there too, and black walnut is one of them that will help cleanse all of that out. When it comes to low sperm count, I go for safflower any day, every day, any day. Right? Safflower is something that builds up the sperm count real quick. When I mean real quick.
Did you say sunflower or safflower?
Safflower.
Safflower?
So, you know, this is
will that increase?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. I was going to ask, will safflower increase your sperm count even if it's not low?
Yes, it will nourish it also.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's not that you're gonna get it's not that you're gonna get what do you call it, extra amount of sperm coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know they have like the safflower oil. Would you suggest for men to take that, to use that maybe in their salads as well? Or?
Yeah, they could use it in their salads. They could use it in like a oil to massage their scrotum if they need to.
Now with the oil, can it be store grade oil, or does it have to be a different type of, I guess, grade?
You infuse the oil for them.
Okay. Oh, you mean, okay, you're just referring to making the oil with several things in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And drinking it.
The oil will be a massage external.
Okay.
But you could
Okay.
also put it on your salads, right? As just like an oil dressing.
Yes, if you want, you could do that too. So
Okay.
say you make an infusion of safflower oil in olive oil, right? After
Okay.
a few weeks of that, what you could do if you want to put some of that on your salad, you could do that. And you could also massage it on your body.
Got it.
But specifically on the scrotum.
Yeah. I mean, safflower is good for the skin too, right? It
Right.
makes your
Right.
skin grow a whole lot, you know. So if you start seeing the scrotum glowing and the rest of the body start looking dark, well, then start using it on the rest of the body. All right. You have tribulus. Tribulus is one of them used very long time for testosterone, you know. And when we talk about herbs, we're not talking about herbs that it's not the herbs producing the testosterone, right? It stimulates the body, it nourishes the body so the body could produce these different
What it's
hormones
supposed to
and
do.
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because sometimes you might hear people saying, well, tribulus and Siberian ginseng and all these things will, you know, is testosterone, it will increase your testosterone, but it's not. What the herbs is doing is providing the nutrients to the different organs, glands, and everything else to be able to produce these chemicals that we look for in the body, right? Nettle root, don't forget nettle root.
Oh,
Who else, boy? Oh man, it's too much to list. Damiana,
yeah.
only
Nettle
good
root is.
weed.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, nettle root.
Now, nettle root is better than the nettle leaf for that type of situation.
Yes, when it comes to the prostate, if you will notice,
Mhm.
most of the herbs for the men is more like roots, and they tend to be very hard. That's because the penis needs to be hard,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know. So you look at roots like Moripuma, who else, boy? Sarsaparilla, sassafras, you know, and these herbs they do different things also. You know, they help cleanse the blood and all these different things. So when you're making your blends, you don't have to use a whole bunch of them, right? And again, it comes back to the intention, what we're trying to do with the body, trying to help the body do, I should say, right?
Would you put black cohosh in that group too?
Black cohosh, yes, especially if the penis was broken. All right. And I mean, and there's a bunch of herbs online there you could read up about, right under the write up on the energizing male reproductive. You have some in there, and then I'm putting more under the herb section. So with that said, it's what Minister Two. Um, for Thursday, we will get into the bones, and we'll try and touch on the nervous system also. Actually, no, we'll get into the skeletal system on Thursday, and we'll do we'll finish the exercise with the women with the three issues that they have, and you're supposed to blend three teas from the herbs. We'll finish that, and I will send out one today for men with issues that you'll have to blend three teas for, and we do that on Thursday.
Where do you send them to? Like, what's the website again?
Herbalbushhouse.net.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All
You
right.
just click on there, you click herbal artists, and everything is on one page. There's
Mhm.
stuff that's separate too, but everything that we went through should be on one page. And then with the herbs separate too for people that visited. And when you go into herbs, it's all the herbs is on one page too. So it should be easy. to get to.
All right, good thing.
All right. So with that said, it was good, and we will reconvene on Thursday again.
Thank you.
All right.
Sounds good. Good things.
And I will have this up by tonight. I should have the video up for those who missed it.
Give thanks.
All right. Take care, you all.